What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including Samoa Joe vacates the NXT Championship due to injury, but is he really injured? Big E says he's cashing in tonight. Brock Lesnar passing the torch over to a new WWE superstar. More banned words from Vince McMahon. Becky Lynch turns full heel on a fan. A huge WWE superstar's contract is about to expire and it's not Kevin Owens, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now let's hit the intro and get straight into our first story. Our first story looks at a big one as Samoa Joe vacates the NXT title. Now there's bad news for Samoa Joe as the first three-time NXT champion is being forced to vacate the title due to injury. However, is Samoa Joe really injured? Some are questioning the injury and whether the WWE is merely trying to build up excitement for someone else vying for the title. But let's check out part of Joe's video announcement made on Twitter.
Hello, I'm NXT champion Samoa Joe. Upon my recent return, my goals were very simple. I sought to ensure the respect and integrity due to both NXT and its championship. I sought to ensure that everybody understood that the needs of one individual will never outstrip the sum of the brand. Today, I find myself having to stand on those principles. Recently, WWE Medical has informed me that due to certain injuries, they would like to have me step away from the ring for a brief, yet still indeterminate amount of time. I realize that this week we are on the cusp of a new NXT. We are on the brink of a new era in our history. And I realize that that era deserves a fighting champion. And that's why it makes this very difficult decision very easy to make. Effective immediately, I relinquish the NXT Championship. Best of luck to those who will vie for it. My sincerest condolences to whoever wins, as I will be along shortly to recollect what's mine.
The Samoan submission machine is no stranger to injuries as he spent much of 2020 on the sidelines and was out for part of 2019 due to a broken thumb. However, some fans are speculating Joe really isn't injured and that the WWE wants to build buzz in the recently reformatted NXT. This would be by having some sort of tournament or similar mechanism for someone winning the title. Some recent comments from Dave Meltzer on the Wrestling Observer Radio suggest Dave thinks something else might be going on. Meltzer discussed the confusion about Joe's status not only in terms of an injury but his status as a wrestler. It's a weird story, he's still with the company, but I don't know if he's going to be wrestling much because the only thing I heard officially from WWE on this, because I contacted unofficially a bunch of people who really didn't know anything. He'd actually said this before people in NXT even had an idea any of this was going on, so it wasn't like they knew anything. Now it goes without saying that NXT is going in a new direction with Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard looking to work their magic there. Is it any surprise that Joe doesn't fit into Mr. McMahon's take on the new and improved NXT? Even before Vinnie Mac decided to work on NXT, it seemed as if Joe wasn't brought back to NXT for a role as a full-time competitor. Meltzer noted, but the official thing was that I was told that he was hired to be more of an administrator or whatever, like a front office person, more than a wrestler, so that's gonna be his job. The thing with him and Cross drew interest. It was a big deal in NXT, but they're going in a different direction. Why he couldn't lose the title in a match instead of vacating it beats me. The big question seems to be what Joe's injury is, if he is in fact injured at all. If so, is it severe enough that NXT can't afford to wait for him to return? Meltzer added, there's many unanswered questions in this story. If he's going to be able to wrestle in a couple of weeks or a short period of time, stripping him kinda makes no sense. There's a lot of vagueness, and when there's vagueness, there's probably a lot more to it than has come out. Joe vacating the title could have something to do with NXT's reported focus on building young stars. Meltzer said, my impression is that he's going to be wrestling less going forward, because again, the idea of NXT now is to develop stars for the future, and Joe is in his 40s and in future he's going to be a coach and a trainer and things like that based on what I was told. It's certainly understandable why the WWE wouldn't want to push Joe on either the main roster or NXT. Now, although he's a tremendous competitor, his WWE run has been plagued by injuries and is proven extremely useful in other roles such as color commentator. While looking at the situation, we're skeptical about Samoa Joe's injury. While his past injuries make it easy to believe the injury is real, the timing is really suspect, as Vince McMahon seems adamant about rebuilding NXT from the ground up. What do you guys think? Is Joe really injured? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, Big E announces that he's cashing in his Money in the Bank briefcase tonight. Now, Big E just announced on Twitter that, let's let the cat out of the bag. I intend on cashing in on my Money in the Bank contract tonight and cashing it in to become WWE Champion. Tonight on Raw, WWE has Randy Orton going up against Bobby Lashley, so will Big E actually cash in? Well, there's nothing better than having somebody announce that they're cashing in the Money in the Bank briefcase to ruin a big surprise. But you think it's actually gonna happen tonight? Whatever the case, that's one way to get fans to tune into all 3 hours of Raw. Next up, Brock Lesnar passing on the torch to a new superstar. Now, news and rumors are coming in to suggest that recently signed Olympic gold medalist Gable Steveson and the WWE's apparent push to strap a rocket to his back. Not only are there rumors flying of Gable skipping NXT, but there's already talk of a huge program with Brock Lesnar where the Beast Incarnate will pass the torch to the 2021 gold medal wrestler. Meltzer commented on the situation during a recent Wrestling Observer Radio, bringing up potential passing of the torch moment between Brock and Gable in the near future. It's already been teased and talked about that Brock Lesnar would eventually wrestle him in a passing of the torch type moment at Wrestlemania. Of course, just because Wrestlemania is being mentioned, don't expect to see it at Wrestlemania 38. Some comments from Meltzer on the Wrestling Observer Radio suggest Steveson is going to skip NXT and make his debut next year. They are big behind him for a lot of reasons, but it doesn't mean he's going to be a success either. I mean, it's like he's going to have a microscope on him, and he's going to be up there on the main roster too soon for sure. He's going to be in matches too soon as far as to be a good worker because they're going to try to capitalize on it, although I think he goes full time in May 2022, and you know at that point they're going to be grooming him to the top spots, and they signed him to a deal that pretty much wants him there. There's a big difference between amateur wrestling and pro wrestling, and despite his gold medal accomplishments, Steveson might flop as a performer, especially if the WWE doesn't give him the time to develop his pro skills. However, his devotion to training for the Olympics is a great sign that he has the work ethic to do whatever it takes to learn the ropes in the WWE. Next up, Andrade's awesome apology. The 10 September episode of Rampage featured a hard-hitting match between Andrade and Pac, one that saw Andrade accidentally bump into a young fan at ringside. However, it looks like Andrade is doing whatever he can to make things right. He apologized to the fan afterwards and also tweeted, "Hi Lucas, I'm so sorry. I'm so happy that you are very well. Send me your address and I'll send you a shirt of mine." Now, there's no word on if the fan asked for a Charlotte Flair shirt instead. I kid, nobody wants that. Next up, a huge WWE superstar's contract expiring soon. Now, could Sami Zayn be the next WWE superstar to exit the WWE? Fans know that Kevin Owens' contract is rumored to expire in January of 2022, and now reports are coming in that Owens' BFF Sami Zayn doesn't have much time left in the WWE. Meltzer reported in last week's Observer that rumors are already flying about who is next with Remy Sabai aka Sami Zayn, whose contract expires later this year. If Zayn's friend KO leaves the WWE, could the two reunite somewhere else? There's still time for the WWE to negotiate new deals with Zayn and or Owens, but with the WWE cutting its payroll left, right and center, there's no guarantee the company will want either man. Next up, Becky Lynch goes full heel on a fan. Becky Lynch's SummerSlam return shocked the wrestling world, not so much because she finally returned from maternity leave, but because she seemed to turn heel by sucker punching SmackDown Women's Champion Bianca Belair. While fans weren't certain if the man was just being a bit more aggressive, she seems to have put all her doubts about her heel status to rest. A recent video from a recent live event shows Lynch talking trash with the fans at ringside after she defeated Bianca Belair to retain her women's title. But according to Wrestling Inc.'s Samoa Joe, this is just one of several videos of Lynch playing a full-blown heel. Considering the WWE's inability to book tweeners well, it's probably for the best that the WWE is letting Becky go all the way with her heel character. With Bayley out of action, the blue brand needs a fresh heel, and without taking anything away from Sasha Banks, Lynch seems better positioned for a heel run right now. What do you guys think of Lynch's heel turn? Let us know in the comments down below. And finally, more banning in the WWE. And last but not least, wrestling fans know that Vince McMahon's penchant for micromanaging the WWE extends to what words wrestlers and announcers can use and what words are forbidden. In the past, fans have heard about forbidden words such as belt and card, but according to this week's Observer, Vince McMahon has a new list of naughty words including wife beater and mofos. Now, we didn't notice the word missionary position on the list, but it could be a case of only Roman Reigns having authorization to use it. But there you have it guys, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.